This is a transcript of Michael O'Brien Oldbridge in his description of coracle making. I commence to cut the hazel rods for coracle making immediately after the leaf goes off. I cut all the rods suitable for the purpose, some of them 2.5 inches in circumference, and the remainder of them half that size, from 9 to 10 feet long. I take them home and stand them facing the sun for the season. When they're seasoned a bit for a fortnight or so, I tie them up again and put them up until the coracle making commences in the month of January. When they are seasoned properly, I commence to make the frame of the coracle on the ground and puts down the sticks in their proper places after I have the circle made. The making of the circle is simply done by 2 sticks with loops on them, leaving 1 stick in the ground, and you go round with the other one and form the circle. When you go round halfways, you make it oval from that to the tail of the coracle to the length you want. I commence then and puts down the 32 rods for the basket of the coracle, and immediately I have that done, I commence to make the rim. When I have the rim plaited, I commence laying 8 of the side rods across and goes opposite and puts the other 8 with the points of them at the butts of the other ones. When this is done, I go to the front of the coracle and puts down the 7 front ones to the tail, and goes and put the tail 7 on with the tops of them to the front. After that's done, I put a board on top with some heavy stones to weigh it and leave it there for perhaps 2 days or more. Then with my marling twine ties them in diamond shapes, the whole coracle from the breast to the tail, and when that's done, I put on the board again and with the stones and leave it there for a week to set. That will be level when it takes to set. I then go and cut the willows, and immediately I take them home, I light a fire and gives them a slight roasting, and twist them and leaves them ready for use, until such time as I put on the hide. That may be in a fortnight after. I forgot to mention the putting down of the standard stakes. I put them 6 inches into the ground. I plait the rim round on the coracle immediately after I put down the standards. This rim is made with a light class of hazel rod, as they are interwoven in and out of the 32 stakes, one against the other until the whole rim is formed, and you have all those small hazels worked out to the point, and the rim is finished then. After it's a week weighted, I go round with a spade and loosen it, and lift the whole coracle out of the ground. After that's done, I cut the sharp spikes off the whole 32 rods round and leave it to one side until such time as I have the leather hide. The leather hide is steeped in water for 2 days and 2 nights to soften it, and commence to sew it on then to the basket with strong twine. This hide is a large cow hide, the most suitable for the coracle, more suitable than any other animal hide. And when the hide is sewn on round the basket, I commence to put on in the seat in the coracle. When the hide is sewn on around the basket, I commence then to put in the seat in the coracle, and to plait the willows across in the coracle for holding up the net at the tail of it. When the willows are all plaited on and put in their proper places on the coracle, I get in and sit on the seat, and with a mallet hammer home those rods in case there be any that would be slack, and goes round gradually time after time until I have all those hazels home tight against the cowhide. Immediately I have that done, I commence and cut off the remainder of the spikes. I cut them off to the level of the rim of the coracle. When that is done, I have all the little stakes cut round level with the rim. I put on a hazel rod right round the top of those stakes to keep them from lifting up, and ties the hazels right round the whole coracle, and that keeps all those butts in their proper place. The reason for that is, if any of them spring up, that they'd be a danger to the nets in the meshes catching on one of them butts that would spring. The coracles would last for about 3 seasons until they get broken or worn with the wet and the tramping of the men's boots on them, but some would last for 4 years according to the pressure they would get on. The coracles are dying out very much on the River Boyne of late, Very few places they are making them now at all. The last account I heard of coracle making was at Lady Cunningham's of Slane Castle. That was about 1902, 14 years ago, and to the best of my opinion it was a man of the name of Johnson that was making them there. He lived either in Slane or Rossnaree. He was over 70 years of age then. Oh, he was making them all his lifetime. Very likely the same as myself. I am about the last of the coracle makers at Oldbridge at the present time, except some new beginner starts, and I don't know of anyone at the present time. When the season starts, the coracle is taken out, and also the net, and brought up to the fishing station and put on the edge of the river. When the net is coiled proper on the tail of the curragh, you get in and kneel with your paddle, strutting off the bank, and then shoots the haul right round in a circle. When the net's out of the coracle, you immediately come home to the land. There's a rope that's tied to the net that's held on the river bank until you land at the edge of the river bank again. 3 men pulls in the haul. We saw some very good seasons from 1874 to 1884. There was great fishing on the Boyne and all parts at that time. My father used to go to the Dublin market every morning with heavy loads of salmon and trout, but this was in the month of April. I recollect one Tuesday morning as we took 27 salmon in one haul, and the next morning we went down about an hour later and we took 27 salmon in the same place. And we went down on Thursday morning and we took 27 salmon in the same place. And that was the most remarkable event I ever saw on the Boyne, on the one numbered 3 mornings, in the one landing place. Yes, at that time the fish, it averaged about 14 pounds, the whole lot of them. Michael O'Brien was born in 1853. He lived at Oldbridge, County Meath. His father was Thomas O'Brien. His grandfather's name was Pat McAnally, a native of Crockfee in Oldbridge. They were part-time fishermen and farmers. He could read and write and went to a hedge school taught by a James Curran on the Dunnow Road.